Peter Gay Coombs here from JTV News. I have with me the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Sean Richards, and the Agriculture and Health Minister, among other portfolios from St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's begin with you, Deputy Prime Minister. What essentially was the essence of your meeting just now with the Premier of the BVI?
Well, actually, we were not able to meet with the Premier, but we met with the Minister of Education, and we also met with the Director of your NEOC and other staff from the NEOC. The purpose of the meeting was essentially to gain first-hand information as to the impact of Hurricane Irma on the BVI and what assistance the government of St. Kitts and Nevis can render to the people of the BVI. During our meeting, it was outlined that, of course, you have a need for essential food items such as water, materials to assist with the rebuilding of the housing stock in particular. We also learned from her that, of course, and we were able to see for ourselves that you have lost quite a bit of your vegetation, you are without electricity, you are without water, and so even in terms of human resources that can be lent to the BVI to help you to recover as soon as possible, we discuss those things. It therefore means that upon return to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Cabinet would meet and a determination would be made as to what assistance can be provided to the people of the BVI. I want to say to all of the persons living here in the BVI that the government and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are indeed quite saddened by the loss that you have suffered here from the impact of Hurricane Irma, and we are committed to assist as much as possible to help you to recover within the shortest possible time.
Agriculture Minister and Minister of Health, how are you planning to assist the BVI in its recovery efforts?
Thank you. I think that the Deputy Prime Minister captured most of how my government will respond to the challenges that you have. And so, having come here and having seen firsthand the tragedy which you face, we think that the recovery efforts here in the British Virgin Islands will take many, many years. The people of St. Kitts and Nevis who live here, I want to say a special word to them, that this British Virgin Islands you have called your home. It is an opportunity now for you to be part of the recovery efforts and the rebuilding of this fine place called Virgin Islands, not because it is in a place of disrepair at the moment. It is an opportunity for you to help to rebuild this state. From our end in St. Kitts, the Ministry of Health is offering that if there is any need for health services to be provided, which cannot be provided in the British Virgin Islands, certainly we are open to assist with that. That has been already broadcast on our radio station. And we know that you've lost a lot of vegetation, and we have made contact with the Food and Agricultural Organization from the Ministry of Agriculture. And so if there's any support that can be had through the FAO, we certainly would like to help you to facilitate that for you, so that you can get your vegetation, especially your food crops, back up and running. I want to again appeal to those persons who are here from St. Kitts and Nevis that we would encourage you to be part of the rebuilding exercise here, be part of the resilience building. This storm, I don't think we wish on anyone anywhere. This storm has taught us all that we, especially in small island states, are vulnerable, very vulnerable. There isn't any place for you to evacuate to. All of us are vulnerable. And it is an opportunity, I think, for us to, while we adapt now to the situation which we face, that we then begin to build resilient edifices, resilient structures. I'm not sure that we can build anything that can stop a storm at 200 miles an hour, but in any event, we have to try to be more resilient in how we reconstruct in our states.
Deputy Prime Minister, in terms of your nationals who are already here, and especially where education is concerned, is there any plan to facilitate education for them back home, as well as other children from the BVI who may be out of schooling for whatever time frame?
That again I will discuss with my cabinet colleagues. However, I can safely say that any citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis returning to the Federation, the Constitution provides for that child to be entitled to an education. As such, that child cannot be refused the right to be placed in a school, in a place of education in St. Kitts and Nevis. I have already had a request from quite a number of persons. We have said to those persons to speak to the relevant persons within the Ministry of Education, so that in terms of the procedures that one would have to go through to get that child enrolled in school, that information can be had from the requisite personnel at the Ministry of Education.
One last one. Any requests or arrangement regarding evacuation?
At this point in time, we have not made any arrangements to evacuate our nationals here in the BVI. I know that some governments have resorted to doing so, but I think you heard the Minister of Agriculture in his plea to the Kittitians and Nevisians living here in the BVI to be part of the rebuilding effort to help to make the BVI a more resilient place. Indeed, you have lived here for quite a number of years, and so in terms of your own development, the BVI has contributed towards it. And so now that the BVI is in need of your help, my first advice is not for you to run away from the BVI, but to help to build back the very same island that you have adopted as your home and the very same island that has helped to build you. We prefer from St. Kitts and Nevis and to hear our own nationals asking of the government, how can you help to rebuild the BVI which we adopted as our home?
Thank you.
Before you leave, we have with us, as you know, our Director of People's Empowerment, Mr. Duncan Watley. And this is a chap who has been here before interacting with our nationals from time to time, and I'm sure he might want to make a contribution.
Sure, please, go ahead, Mr. Watley.
Putting me on the spot. Good morning. Yes, I just want to appeal to the nationals here that we are definitely going to be reaching out to them, whether via the internet or email. And I'm here to do my assessment to keep these guys honest.
There you have it from the St. Kitts and Nevis government delegation, fresh from a meeting with government officials here in the British Virgin Islands.